All right, Jessica. So thanks for coming on the podcast. And I think, was it Jack Killian that connected us?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
Jack's great. He connects me with a lot of people. And you're local, I'm local. So I talk to people all over the world. But when it's really us, like locally, we really have a better understanding of what's really going on in our economy, especially in the business that you are in, where you're dealing with people and stuff that they, taking care of themselves and feeling good about themselves and all that kind of stuff. But it's not life or death. So like we were talking off the mic that it's a roller coaster right now for everybody. But let's go back to like your background and how you got into business, why you started the salon, and then we'll get to where we are today. We can have all the philosophical discussions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I love making people feel good. I love helping people be their most confident self. It started out when I was a little girl. I always would try to help someone any way that I can with, looking good, feeling good, helping to make money, connecting people. And then this hair thing happened upon me, and I started my business 24 years ago. So I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. And personal care is a very, very
So
important
you were
part
always
of.
in personal care,
Mhm.
salons, styling, all that stuff.
Yes, I started at 19. I opened my business. So a couple years before that, I was really young. I started assisting in a salon and took it from there. So I opened at a really young age.
I think people watching aren't going to believe that you're in your 40s, so you don't look that way. So okay, but so we gave away a little bit of a secret, but that's all right.
That's okay. That's okay. That's why we're in the beauty industry, right? You
Right,
want to you want to
exactly.
keep your beauty on.
Right, exactly. Okay, so let's go back. So how did you get started? Did you know anything about business? Did you take a course? You write a plan? You just wing it? I mean, what'd you do?
So my family, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. They had a bunch of businesses, and I had been working in them literally since I was about 10 years old. So I watched, I learned, and I was taken by surprise when my family came back and my dad said, I found a space for you. You're going to open up a salon. And I was just finishing up cosmetology school, and I was like, Dad, I don't even know how to cut hair.
Like you
Like,
thought you
how's
were
that
going to
going to
work
go
for
down?
somebody, right?
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
was working for somebody. I was actually working for two different places at the same time,
Okay.
in different necks of the woods. But I took a deep breath, and my family gave me a loan, and I said, look, I can make money or I can make excuses. You can't do both. And I rolled my sleeves up, and it was hard, but I was excited because I knew people, and I really had a basic understanding of business. Of course, it wasn't. I didn't have my MBA, so it definitely was uncomfortable and uncharted waters. But I really feel like I was in a community that was accepting of me, and I was able to hire a couple of talented people, and we really immersed ourselves in education and getting to know the technical part of the industry. And I feel as though, emotional intelligence plays a key role in relationship development and your
Sure.
intuition. And I think that, getting involved with my community, giving back to the different organizations that were local, really helped me get roots in this community. And, hence I'm still here trucking along 24 years later.
You're in the same location that you were 24 years ago?
I relocated at one time from the
Okay.
where I started in a shopping center. I'd lost my lease 5 years in on a technicality, so I had to move, and that
Really?
was really, really difficult because I'd grown a really good sized business with a great clientele, and I had 10 to 12 employees. And I got a letter that said you have 60 days to vacate, and I was like, "What are you talking
So
about?"
basically, it was some technicality. They were able to throw you out.
Yeah, you have to. They wanted me to renew my lease and renew my option in writing, and I called on the phone.
I've
And
had clients get
um,
screwed that way.
that's
Yeah.
that's right. So
Yeah. I
hence why
mean,
you need a good
commercial is
attorney.
commercial. You got to follow the contract. It's not like a residential tenancy where you get certain protections under the law.
Absolutely. But then that door closed. So what I started doing, I was flipping out. I was 9 months pregnant with my third
Oh,
child. And I started cold calling salons to say, are you interested in selling? And I knew that I had to be in between two lights. Here in Bernardsville, there's a small center of town that's the
hmm,
heart of Bernardsville, and you can't really take your clientele and move them.
right.
So luckily, the person across the street was in a standalone building. They said they were interested. So we started the talks, the negotiations,
So
and
they weren't really
ultimately,
looking to sell. You kind of approached them, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, it's always through adversity, there's opportunity. And
Yeah.
that door closing and that tragedy really opened up a place for me to be able to come into this particular building and then eventually purchase the building, which I would have never been able to do in
Right.
that shopping center. The rent would just be
Right.
I
Yeah.
might have gone bankrupt because
But so
rents
what?
creep up.
Oh, I have a lot of questions. But so when you got started, if you remember, I'm assuming you didn't just go out and buy, put chairs in and put a sign up. So you must have planned it out some way, right? Strategically, I'm going to do this, and this is what we need to market, and this is how we're going to grow it, right? Do you remember what you did, or you just like you didn't know? You were just because you're young, right?
I was young
You're freaking
and
out.
I wasn't really freaking out. You don't know
No?
what you don't know.
Yeah, that
So
helps.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like a little boy that gets on a dirt bike when he doesn't know how to ride and he just
Right.
goes. And if he
Yeah, he doesn't
falls,
get
he
hurt
falls.
because he has no fear.
Exactly.
But you had
So,
two people that were working with you, so you had some people to bounce some ideas off of, right? And
well, when I first started, no, I had
just
nobody.
you,
I just was like, and then it took a couple weeks. I
right?
think 2 weeks in, a woman who still works with me now walked in with a bag and was just like, "Are you hiring?" And I was like, "Do you have any clients?" She was like, "Well, I have about 12." And I was like, "That's 12 more than I do. You're hired."
That's fun. It was like you're in a nest and your dad like dropped you over the top and good luck. And then here you are, right? But you're young.
Honestly,
It's like you don't know
that
any
is
better.
how it is. I compare it to being on a cliff, a high one, and you're going to jump. You have to jump, and you're getting pushed, and you have, you can land, you can die, or then when you land, you can swim.
Right.
And sometimes I had a little bit of resentment on how could you have put me in that position
Yeah.
at that young age. But they saw something in me that I didn't see. And I've experienced that with employees. And they knew that I was capable of more than what I thought I was capable of. And
Right.
having someone believe in you through your journey and through this path in life, that is a life lesson that I will take with me and that I try to have it roll over to the people that I lead on my team, because I literally was pushed off the side and it was like, okay, take a deep breath. And I didn't have a business plan. There
Right.
was no marketing plan. I was in a great town. I was in a shopping center that was very busy, and people started coming in, and I
Yeah.
was nice. I would
Right. You're,
smile.
yeah. And that's what you
I
do.
tried to
By the way,
hire
people
nice
listening,
people.
it doesn't mean you and I recommend don't write a business plan if you start your business, but it
No,
worked out for you.
never. No, don't do
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah,
think everyone
absolutely
needs a
not.
mentor. I think that if you read that book, what's the book? Gladwell's book, Outliers.
Hmm.
There's always somebody that intervenes or a mentor or somebody along the way that makes you more successful. We all need a mentor, somebody because you see things now, and so do I, that, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we're just too stupid. I mean, we had no experience.
100%.
And you see that in people now, where you're like, that person really has a lot of potential. They have no clue.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
So,
I was just going to say the resources now are so incredible that I almost look for reverse mentors so
yeah.
that I can learn things. And I have, because when I started my business, I started with a book and a pencil. And when someone paid, we highlighted it yellow. That's how we
Nice.
knew that we got the
Yeah.
money.
That was
And
your
now it's
system.
computers
Right.
and your cell phone and your software that you could check in on your phone and an iPad. So we definitely have grown organically, if you will. But
Right.
it's been
But you and
hard.
I we have our own mentors. They're just at the next level.
Yes.
And then you can help people below you. When you're 19, a little hard to help people. They need to help you.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
and that took a lot of,
So do you
it was
remember what was so you're at the point where you're losing your lease in a very short period of time. You could have just started looking for space, right? And you're going to move. But what was the impetus? Do you remember why you said, you know what? Let's buy an operating business and move to that location versus just finding another space?
well, so there wasn't a lot of real estate that was around. And when the real estate was there, you have to do the build out and the fit out, and you
Right.
had to look at what the square foot cost is going to be. And then, make sure that I can relocate all of my equipment that I had that I spent, the loan that I took, it was a lot of money. And,
Right.
I needed that. I needed that to bring that with me. Um, Listen, I am scrappy. I'm resourceful. I will do what I have to do. And I always plan, do, and review. So I was just exploring my options. I was looking for
So
different
you didn't
things,
know at that point if you could find a business, you might had to open another location.
100%, but there
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of real estate in between the two lights where I knew
Right.
where I wanted to be.
Yeah. So you had really a small footprint that would really be your optimal place. Because I mean, how far in your estimate do people go? Like if you say, okay, well, we couldn't find anything in Burnsville, so now we have to move to what's a town nearby you that's a little bit further away?
Basking Ridge, for
Yeah. Okay.
instance.
So you got to move to Basking Ridge. Are they going to go? Like, how far could you move? And the people that like you and you cut their hair, they're going to go there.
If you've built up a really strong clientele, they will follow you probably up to 20 miles or so, but it's extra. And that was not in my plan.
Right.
to move towns. My
Right.
my
Well,
plan
it's
was to
hard. That's an
stay in
hour round trip
Burnsville.
basically for somebody to get their hair cut.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's just not how my business was built. My business was built on a transient type of walk-in business, if you will, initially, which that really was what worked for me because I was in this shopping center. And then once after
They
5 years,
traffic there.
right, we had a really good established clientele that we just needed to, do the best, shortest, quickest, easiest way. And I mean, what a gift from God. I look at it now. It's like, wow, I literally was able to move and relocate and then purchase the building
Yeah. Well, you almost
years
didn't even
later.
skip a beat. I mean,
Mm-mm.
right? You move across the street. What? I'm going to you. I'm going to keep going to you, of course.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
was it was great. Thank God.
How long ago did you buy the building?
I bought the building in 2011. So
So
I
about
came
10
over
years
into
ago.
this space in 2002, and then by 2011 we had made the purchase of the real estate
And is the
itself.
building, it's not your only location, I think you told me, right?
It's not. No, this
Is
is
it, are you
no.
out? I mean, can you stay in that space in the building? Is it got plenty of room for that particular location?
Absolutely. I did do a renovation because when I took this building over, it was a salon on the first floor and a spa on the second floor.
Different
And
business.
right prior to COVID, we were so busy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so busy that I literally had to take the spa out of the second floor and I relocated into the property next door. So now I have the wellness center, which is next door to the main salon. And then the main salon is now we have basically two salons, one on the first floor and one on the second floor.
I see. Okay, fine. So you can go to either one, but right now you're at a distance. You got to set stuff up. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you remember, like, how did it go when you were growing your business and marketing and, getting people in the door? I mean, what did you do to grow the business?
Again, like, a lot of community service efforts, being
Okay.
involved and saying yes to every single time someone came in and asked me for a donation.
Supporting
I always
something,
said
whatever.
yes,
Okay.
100%. Doing haircuts for St. Baldrick's, working on the fashion show for the students at the high school. Literally, I believe we've done it for 24, 25 years, which was incredible because I
Yeah.
graduated high school and then the next year I did the fashion show.
Yeah.
So,
Did you go to school there? Is that where you're from?
I did graduate from Burnett High School. Yes.
Oh, okay,
Hmm.
fine. So
I
it's your
grew up in
local
Scotch
place.
Plains, and then we relocated, and I graduated from here. So it just was, being outside, being out there on the sidewalk, passing out marketing material, always putting ads in the newspaper. At that time was very popular. The Yellow
Right.
Pages was very popular. It's so different now,
Yeah.
obviously. But just doing that, trying to stay top of mind for people, trying to stay relevant and be current and always bring the latest trends and whatever was beautiful, the best products, having the best color line on the market, which we still have. That's Goldwell. It's a
Right.
beautiful color line. That's really what I, tried to do. And then connect with the clients when they're there, have them talk, be kind, not have a pretentious attitude, really
Right.
just
Make
know
them
that,
feel welcome.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're in that, there's some businesses that are not so tangible and some businesses that are more tangible. And, your business is the kind of business where you want to make people feel good about themselves and, feel like they're not in a schlocky place and, that there's a certain quality to it. But I was talking to somebody the other day. You are really, for the lack of a better term, a guerrilla marketer. I mean, there are people out there that are what I call, they're into hand-to-hand combat. Now, I agree with you. It's harder to do today with everything that's going on, but frankly, you didn't really stop that. I mean, so it's online now. So now all your guerrilla marketing or the videos you post and all the interaction, the social stuff that's going on, it's just different. You can't be on a street corner necessarily handing out flyers that people don't want to hold because they don't know where they came from.
That's right.
But that's how it just seems to be more of your nature than right. Like somebody didn't tell you something like, Jessica, you're doing this all wrong. You should do it this way. It was kind of like always the way you were, right?
Yes. I'm a hustler and I love the grind. I love the grit of really working hard to support the people that are here on my team. I love signing their paychecks. I love watching them grow. I love being able to put myself out there as the CMO of the company to make sure that there's always people coming in, that there's always that vibe of heart and extra love that is there for our clients and for the people that are on the team. That's really, why I do what I do.
Yeah. I think to a certain extent, that's a learned skill. Like people can learn it, but if it's not really in your DNA, you're only going to be so good at it. You know, like a lot of it's very intuitive for you,
Absolutely.
you know, because
Yeah.
I see you on your videos. Like there's some people I watch videos and I'm like, eesh. And you know, your videos are they're just good. I mean,
Thank you.
they're just very good.
I appreciate
So
that.
so that was back in you said first you moved there in 2002, you bought the business, right? Then you
Mhm.
bought the building in 2011. How many locations do you have now?
We have 4 locations.
Okay, and they're all hanging in there with
I'm still
coronavirus,
open.
right? Well, that's more than a lot of people can
I'm
say.
still open, and I'm trying to reinvent myself now. I'm trying to find other streams of income
Yeah,
to be able to take care of the things that I have to take care of. I don't necessarily have to be married to the income from this location must support only that location. I think there's no rules right now. There's no right or wrong. If I'm going to be able to get income to be able to take care of landlord number 2 or number 3 from this place, I just have to do what I have to do right now to make ends meet because I put myself in this situation.
yeah,
And that's really where my focus is at right now.
yeah. A little bit of survival.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a tough way to run a business sometimes long term. You don't want, you know, one location to lose money and then to be taking away from the others to support it. But at this point, you don't want to make that decision that, well, I'm going to close that location because we're losing money. That could change in 3 months. You know, things turn around. A vaccine's now coming out. They said people are going to get
Yes.
it next week. So
Hmm.
probably by the springtime, when the flowers start coming through the grass again, people will come out and say, wow, I can go to my salon again, you know?
I
So,
hope so. I mean, I had just opened the location in Mendham a year and a half ago,
oof,
a little, so I
just
didn't even
building
give that
momentum.
little
Yeah.
baby seed a chance.
Yeah.
It hasn't had a chance to survive. And then what happened with COVID, it's just being closed down. My focus had to be on the main salon and the employees that I had
Right.
and making sure that all of our mental health and our routines and systems that we had try to help and support myself, my family, and the employees. Like that really became my focus. So it was like, okay, this has to take a seat. I try to plate things in my life. So I will take the one off the plate and I'll deal with it at that moment, and then I'll put it back and I'll let it spin again.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a good way of, compartmentalizing things.
Hmm.
So what have you been doing in terms of pivoting? So we came into, because my law practice has been the same, right? Once April hit, I had no business for like 3 or 4 months because like you're my client, right? And you're worried about whether you're going to even be in business. You're not calling your lawyer about something or doing a deal or opening a new location. So what kind of things did you do to pivot when we were, well, you were literally shut down. I mean, you were shut down
Yeah.
by the governor.
Hmm.
So what did you do at that time?
Right in the beginning, I turned inward and I really tried to look at how am I going to be able to be strong enough? What tools do I have that I can speak to my staff and to myself every day to keep positive and to keep hope?
Not just
Because
financially, you mean emotionally as well.
100%,
Yeah.
because we were so busy. And then I felt like Lieutenant Dan, my legs were cut off.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. So I would look at my daily practice of, what can I do? Bringing in meditation, bringing in journaling, bringing in time to think and reflect. And, you felt like you were in prison. No disrespect to anybody that has been. I'm just telling you from my perspective. It's
Yeah, you
like
felt trapped.
I am being told that I'm trapped here and I cannot do what I normally would do. So
Right.
you have to then look for options to say, okay, well, how am I going to make the best of this tragedy? And it's trauma. You're sitting there in this place and you feel helpless, hopeless. And it's like, okay, well, you have to talk to yourself. You have to be kind. You have to know that you're in this spot, and through adversity comes opportunity. So we would start doing weekly meetings. I would talk to people on the phone that I work with. We would do the weekly Zoom thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't easy because you felt like sometimes they're looking at you like, okay, now what is she going to say now? She's going to give
Right.
us one of her pep talks.
Right. Well, I think
But
people at the beginning, I was like sitting on the couch and thinking, I mean, how long could this last? This is a couple of weeks. And then I was thinking, I can't work on my laptop on a couch. I got to like pretend like put on a shirt and wash up. And so I set up a little desk because I didn't have one in the house and I was doing Zoom calls and podcasting from the attic. But, I
I
think
get
we
it.
were all kind of in denial for a short period of time.
100%. I mean, I thought this was going to be maybe a 2-week thing.
Yeah,
And then
right.
two
So
weeks
did
turned
I.
into two more, and then two more. And then I was like, I'm on a bus to nowhere, and I'm not driving. And when I'm not in control, I feel helpless. So what I've learned through this is that when you feel helpless and hopeless, you have to look at the opposite and look at, okay, what can I do?
Right.
What can I do? You can get on the internet, you can put yourself on Zooms, you can schedule meetings, you can put yourself out there, you can try to, think about other streams of income that you can create for yourself and
Yeah.
for others that are around you. I mean, you know, you have a family, you're providing for your family. I have a
Yeah.
family, and we needed the revenue that was coming into the home.
Sure.
It was really, and it still is, like, because we're still sitting in it, and um,
I
it's
think we're a
vulnerable.
year away from really being like out and about, maybe by summertime, we'll be getting more comfortable with things, see what happens. But
Yeah, I mean, well, 100 years ago, when the Spanish flu hit, it definitely, if you look at those trends, it seems like it came in and it went out. So if we're going to be on track to do that, 18 months, get in and get out, and I hope it's gone, and I hope we don't have to worry about something like this, you know, in our lifetime ever again. After 9/11, we thought, wow, we've really been affected by this tragedy. And then, we just came out of a really bad recession, and it just has been, I think it's been a lot for our generation, and then for our children, what they've went
yeah,
through. I have 20-year-old daughters, and
yeah, me
they're in their
too.
20s, and it's like what they've had to go through. I didn't have a childhood like that.
No,
My childhood was
mine was
fun,
very
and
straight line. You go to school, you
yeah.
do your work, go to college, and I don't know what I was going to do. I ended up in law school, and my son he's 20 also. He's in college, junior. He's having trouble learning programming like online and from his apartment. It's not easy.
No,
And
it's not easy. There's, this distancing, this isolation in your mind. It's not supposed to be how it is, but I'm looking at these kids, and I know that they're going to be so much more they're going to be so capable of way more than what I am and what you are and what we are, as, in our age group, than what we were, because
right.
of this situation that they've been put through. They're going to have to learn to roll their sleeves up. And thank God that there's support out there, that, they can get on Zoom calls and talk to a therapist and talk to a
Yeah, they all
mentor,
need it.
find a mentor. We
Yeah.
all need those things for business and life, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, I think that the kind of things that our parents faced, whether it's Vietnam War, World War II, things like that, we didn't think in our lifetime we'd ever have to deal with that stuff again. And then you get to 9/11 and terrorism, all this stuff. And then now a virus that you can't see. I mean, my daughter was at her dance studio, which is out towards you in North on 22, and maybe it's North Plainfield there, North Plainfield, Greenbrook, right in that area.
Hmm.
And they're very careful, mask, spray, no problem. There was a girl came down with COVID. Nobody got it because they were so careful. So they're filming like for the Nutcracker, because they normally do a recital, which they can't do this year, right? So they figure we'll
Yeah.
film it, we'll live stream it, whatever. Outside, green screens. I think my daughter had her mask off for 7 minutes. And one of the girls she dances with, her partners, that the two of them lift up, had COVID, didn't know it, didn't tell anybody she wasn't feeling well. And my daughter came down with it. We were in quarantine for a week and a half.
Mm,
So, and because you can't see it, you can't,
that's right.
you can't deal with something like that. But but I also think that, and I was talking to somebody from London, who's a friend of mine, is in marketing. I think resiliency is like going to be a big topic and a big part of what we do from a business planning standpoint going forward, because um, it's something we never thought we'd have to deal with,
That's
like being
right.
resilient.
Yep. And
You know?
renewal. Renewing. It's like, you renew your mind every day when you get up. It brings me back to when I first started without a formal business plan. That's almost how this is right now. And thank God I have some experience with it, because I've done it once before.
Right.
You can't plan for
No,
this.
it's very uncertain.
It's
If you do
impossible.
plan, it'll probably going to change in 2 weeks. So,
Exactly.
but you're not the kind of person, nor am I, that's just going to throw their hands up and say, well, because you can't plan, I'm just, there's nothing I can do. You're going to find something to do. I'm sure, just like me, you can. It was only so long that you could sit still and feel sorry for yourself. Well, look out the window. You're like, I'm not gonna be the one of the people that don't survive this. It's just a
Right.
mindset. But there
That's
are
a
a lot of people
mindset.
that, yeah.
It is a mindset. That's right.
So what have you done? So doing business with people obviously had to move online. So if you're a gym, you could do classes online. If you're a pizza place, you could do delivery and home kits and things like that.
Mhm.
What did you guys do?
We did virtual consultations on
Like
beauty
teaching people how
tips.
to cut their own hair?
We didn't do that. We did,
Okay.
on your skin and on your makeup,
Okay.
how to take care of your skin when you're home,
Right.
doing consultations on, what does your color look like? Do you need to actually color your roots? And then we were making color kits. So we would,
That would be shipped to their home that they could do
exactly,
themselves.
exactly. We would ship the color kits, and that actually turned out to really, really help people. Not only did it help the people that we were on Zoom with in giving them connection, but it helped the staff and it helped the people that were doing this with us because it gave us purpose
Yeah,
during this
purpose is
time.
important. Yeah.
Purpose is so important.
Yeah.
And when you get off of a Zoom call with somebody and they're like, "Thank you so much. You see me, you hear me." If I was the client, that's really what the response was. And then we would ship them some makeup because you know what? When you get up and like you said, you put your shirt on, you take a shower,
You
you
feel
get
good
ready,
about
you're
yourself.
groomed. When you look good, you feel better. That's my motto. When your outer looks good, your inner feels better. We do work on the inside, which is why I have the wellness center. But, it starts with getting up, getting dressed, and showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, well, I hope a lot, I mean, I did. A lot of people kind of, I would go to these meetings and there'd be people in like t-shirts with the neck pulled down or whatever. And I'm like, just put it, you can be in your underwear. Just put on a shirt. Nobody's going to know, just don't
Yeah.
stand up during the meeting.
That's
But
the thing. And I think, it's hard to see somebody that's like that and you want to help them because you come from that place, but it's almost meeting everybody where they're at to say they must be struggling or, how are you today? Doing a check-in with the people that we see that they might be a little off. And you could tell,
of course.
if your emotional intelligence, your intuition is like, oh, and then you stop and you ask, you do that check-in with them, then it's like, oh, thanks for asking,
Yeah.
I'm okay, or this sucks, and it
Yeah.
does.
Well, so it only almost gave you an opportunity to connect, to stay connected with your clients who normally would be sitting in a chair talking to you. It's always therapy when you get your hair cut.
Absolutely.
And
One of the girls that works here said that she lined up all her mannequins because we do a lot of training and education, and she was the head of education. So she's like, I put all my mannequins around the dining room table and I just talked to them as if they were my clients. I mean, we were cracking up. Like, we are very
for practice or just for peace of mind?
for peace of mind,
Right.
just for
I know, you
fun
go
at
crazy.
home, just because she was like freaking out. It's
Right.
like we're
Well, we rely on interaction with human beings.
totally, especially the beauty industry.
Yeah,
We
sure.
need it. It's like that's our life, our breath is connecting and helping people feel good. And when you don't have it, you almost lose your purpose. You're like, oh gosh, well, then you don't feel good about yourself because you're not able to help others. It definitely is a double-edged sword there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of it has, you don't realize the ramifications on the smaller local businesses like your industry. I was talking to somebody the other day about my dry cleaner. Like, we used to go to work, we'd wear suits because we want to look good along with,
Yeah.
of our personal care. The dry cleaner's like, hey, their business down like 2/3. I mean, I bring shirts in, I don't bring pants in every week.
I get
I'll
it.
wear them a couple of times. I don't have suits now at all.
Right. So in looking at that business, the dry cleaners, I'm sure they're sitting there, not sleeping at night, wondering, what else can I do?
I'll be honest with you, and I'm pretty good. I don't know what I would do if I was a dry cleaner. Like, what would it's like you said before, if you want to survive, I think in today's world, you do need multiple streams of income, right?
100%.
So if you start a color line or you have this and that, you could sell it online and kits or whatever. So if this happens again, you're more prepared and you have income coming from different places. What do you do as a dry cleaner? What do you do? What's your other source of income? You sell hangers? I don't know.
People are sleeping a lot. They're in their beds. So at a minimum, they could be, marketing to do the comforters, do the sheets.
Yeah,
Bring me your
there's a good one.
shoes.
Right.
Bring me your shoes. Bring me your sneakers. Bring me your
Right.
Uggs, your boots. We'll clean them. We'll,
Yeah, there
there's
you go.
always a way.
Well, they're
right?
not doing any of that. I haven't seen any ads from any dry cleaners, at least in my area, for anything like that.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to wrap their heads around some things or, do something different.
Some
And
people
I
are
think
so used to people just walking in the door.
right. And depending on how long you're in business, I think it can be such a drag because it's so much work. So if you've been doing something for 40 years, I literally just received a letter the other day from a salon, and she said, basically she needs to close down and she wants to sell me her business. Am I interested?
How
And
did
she
she
laid
find you?
out. Sorry,
How did she find you?
I have no idea.
Just
I
maybe
didn't call her
online,
back
so
yet.
your video, a friend,
Yeah.
whatever.
but she's been in business for 40 years and she's done, I mean, like, and probably she wouldn't have if COVID didn't happen,
Right.
but now she's putting her business up for sale because she's like, I'm done,
Right. There are people, a lot of people like that were thinking about it. Maybe I'll retire 5 to 7 years. And this hits and they're like, forget it. I don't want to learn all this
Exactly.
technology that I didn't have to deal with.
I'm out.
I mean, my dad's 77. He's on Zoom. He never, ever wanted to do. He would go back to, remember those Palm Pilots that weren't even connected to your computer? They were like PDAs. First, he had a book called a Daytimer where he'd have a different
Yes.
book for each month, right? He'd write his thing. Then he got to the PDA, and that was enough for him. The fact that his phone is connected, he doesn't want this all connected. Now he's got to go online, and he's like, I'm going nuts.
I know.
Who wanted
it's crazy.
that? You know,
look at Jack too. I mean, Jack
Yeah.
is out there. Jack has done so much in his career, and he's on all these podcasts and Zooms and doing this and that. It's like, it's incredible.
You know what the funny thing is?
growth.
Jack is the one who told me about Zoom. What's
Really?
Jack, 80 years old?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's something close to that. I
Mhm.
think he's 78, 80 years old. And I was like, what's Zoom? He's like, oh, it's this platform I got. People over the country I'm coaching, I could do up to 15 on that. I don't know. What do I need that for? And then here we are.
That's resourceful. That's renewing. That's being innovative. I mean, it's like, listen, that's the real entrepreneurs. The real entrepreneurs, they're going to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, did you think ever in your industry you would be on Zoom with customers?
Never. I always said I was very confident a little bit. I think I had a little bit of an arrogance and an ego to my industry, saying we will withstand anything. We withstood recessions, 9/11, da da da. Liquor stores and the hair salons. We're going to be good. Beauty industry and the liquor stores. We're going to make it.
People will come back. There's no question about it.
But the liquor stores thrived during this COVID, and we were shut down. How did I know?
Right.
It was just like
because you didn't have something that they could just have delivered. You can't deliver a haircut. You can't deliver a facial.
Nope.
Yeah, that's difficult. Now, so it just made me think of something. So were you doing, because I see you on social media, and we'll put your links in if everybody wants to see. You have great videos and all the stuff you're putting out there. Pre-COVID, were you doing a lot of that stuff on social media to promote your businesses, or it wasn't really necessary at that point?
I had a social media presence.
Yeah.
It wasn't like what happened during COVID, because I felt the need to connect.
Right.
And
Me
so
too.
that was my way of getting involved and trying to put myself out there. I don't like to be necessarily, my voice, when you first start hearing your voice, you're like, oh God, is that what I sound like?
Podcasting was very difficult for me to start out. I was like, people are like, you have a very good voice for radio. I'm like, are you sure you're not just like listening to something else? Because that's not how I sound to myself. Because you don't. You do have a very good voice and everything, and you're great on videos, but I'm sure you don't see it that way. But after a while, you get comfortable with it,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a push afterwards, but it's like, then that is your time and your resources, energy, goes into doing that. So, I look at everything and what's the return on this investment going to be? And, I'm sitting here with you. I think that's a good return. I met Jack. That's a great return. Sandy is actually, she saw some of my videos on LinkedIn and reached out, and she happens to be a client at the salon. And she said, I don't know if you know who I am, but I am a client of J.Walker.
Serberneck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for
connects
helping
me with
her last
so
name.
many people.
Yeah. So I really think that she might've been the first connection that you went through her, was how you and I, and
maybe that's how it
with
started.
Jack as well.
Got it.
I definitely always like to give credit where the credit's due, but I would not have been able to say her last name properly. So
I hope I'm saying it properly. People botch my name up all the time, so I don't care.
Yeah, yours is tough too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from a branding standpoint, and from being the face of the organization, I mean, you're J.Walker Salons. I mean, all your people kind of rely on you to be out there, that person, that face, because it drives the organization. So it all kind of fits together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do more on Facebook versus LinkedIn versus, I don't know, what's the other ones? Instagram, Snapchat, Ghost Chat. I don't know what these things are.
So for the companies, we're very heavy on Facebook and on Instagram. Of course, Instagram is the big thing. So we do a business push on there with our work and with the staff, and we'll feature some of the staff. You can, if you go online and look at them, it'll say meet Lorena or meet Lorraine or meet Chris. And they're very fun, beautiful photos of them with their story and what they love and what they're into. And then on LinkedIn, I do more of personal branding and, connecting with the the people who are watching that maybe they might be going through something tough. So I try to share some of my experiences so that I can maybe help them, you know, inspire someone, or, you know, promote someone to maybe make an adjustment, or to, you know, just give a little bit of education and awareness around some things that I've learned and that have helped me or not. If I failed at something, I have shared that too.
It's a little bit of a give back,
Hmm.
pay it
Exactly.
forward type of a thing.
Which
Yeah.
makes me feel good. From when I was a
Yeah.
little girl, that's how it started.
Right. Of course. Well, that's
Yeah.
what makes it all go around. I mean, I forget, you know, the funny thing is when I met Jack, I think I got introduced to Jack by a guy I know who they wouldn't know each other if they passed in the street. Like, I don't know what the connection was, but my friend said, I want to introduce you to this guy, Jack. And maybe it was through email. And then we had breakfast together and we hit it off. That was 15, 20 years ago. He was the first guest on the podcast. You should listen
Wow.
to his story. It's like 2 episodes. It's crazy. I should bring him on probably for my 100th or something.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
and but they never, I don't know what happened. They never connected personally, but we did. But you know, it's funny how it all kind of comes, you know, together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are you doing these days? Like, where are we, where are you going with the industry and everything that you're doing right
So
now?
these days, actually, this day, today, I have a camera crew that's upstairs on the third floor of the salon, and we're going to be doing some recording of clothes that I have that are for sale.
Is
And
that something you started you went into clothes?
I started that when I took on the location in Mendham. It
Okay.
was a boutique type makeup studio from hair and makeup, and it had a boutique for clothing as well, which, you know, it's not my lane. I haven't done clothes ever. And did I regret it? Absolutely. However, you know, the different, when I'm in this, we're in the beauty industry, we're inspirers. People come to us and they're like, oh, where'd you get your shoes? Where'd you get your jacket?
Right,
Where'd
of
you get your
course.
pants? I love
Yeah.
them. So, you know, I said, well, if I love it and I wear it and I can bring it to my guests and to the clients that I have who are my friends and they're like family,
Yeah.
why not? So
Right.
that was the mindset behind, you know, doing the
Yeah,
space
it's
in
another stream
Mendham
of
and
income,
bringing the
sure.
clothes. Exactly. And it
But
can
now no
help
one's coming
people.
in.
Well, right. And no one's going to the malls really. So I'm like, well, how can I bring them all to us? I want to bring them all to you. And so now I have all these clothes and there's not as many people coming in. So I'm like,
Right
let me
now.
just see if I can, right now, I'm going to try to see if I could put these Bianco jeans and pants on Instagram and see if I can sell them. And I have these beautiful jackets and I'm like, I'm going to see if I can sell them. So that's what we're doing today. And you know what?
Okay.
There's some downtime and it's fun. So with everything that I do, I like to obviously help someone, make some money, and have fun.
That's
Those
probably
are
a good
my,
philosophy.
yeah.
Have you started other lines like skincare products, hair care products, anything like that?
The plan with doing Mendham was to take over and brand my own makeup line.
Okay.
And then a little something went down with that process. So it was on pause. And right now there's some things in the works, but I don't have anything specific. I have one lip gloss that's branded to J.Walker. That's the first item that we've done. And it's really pretty. It has a light and a little mirror.
So it's a
We're
little
selling them
compact
for
type
like
of
12 bucks, you know, just because
Yeah.
I like it. So I figured if I like it and people ask me, wow, I like your lips, I like your lip gloss. Then I'm like, okay, here's one,
right.
you know.
Yeah. But if COVID hadn't hit, you probably would have more.
I probably would have, exactly. But you know what? I wouldn't be in the same space spiritually or mentally. So I think that there are blessings, a lot of blessings that came out of it. It was tragic. It is horrible. So many people have passed away, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's
But there are
so
silver
sad.
linings. I mean,
But there's always silver linings in everything that goes on.
yeah. I mean, I don't think we would have met. I don't know.
No
how
way.
would we? Yeah. Because we're out of, I don't go to Burnsville for my hair. I'm not sure why I go to Millburn. I used to work over there. I don't anymore, but I still drive to go there.
Because when you meet your person, they become your person. And then there's that loyalty and they're like your free family and you become friends. I get that. I love the loyalty aspect of things. I mean, we have clients that have been here literally since we opened.
I think some of the more stressful times in my life have been like your hairstylist or your barber, whoever says, "Oh, I'm moving to North Carolina," or something like that. And you're like, but who's going to cut my hair? Then you got to like work with somebody else. And then if you like it or you don't like it, or tell them what you do, it's, very hard. It's much easier to just sit down and say, hey, my hair, you cut it.
Yeah, that's not how it works though. I mean, you literally, that stylist has to ask the right questions and do an in-depth consultation so that she can figure out, or he can figure out what you don't want,
Yeah.
which typically can lead you to what you do. You know, there definitely has to be a system behind the chair to figure out, you know, how are you going to deliver, you know, what it is that you're used to and looking for with your, you know, with your haircut and
Yeah,
all your
because as a
grooming
customer,
needs.
it's very hard for me to explain that to
Absolutely.
to somebody who knows what they're doing.
There's an unspoken language that people will do in the chair, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, I like da 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 da, you know, I want it like
Like
this,
doesn't
or I
mean
want it
anything,
like this,
right?
you know. But so I know that it means they might want bangs, they might want to keep their hair long, you know. If somebody starts going like this, they want volume. There's like this unspoken language that
Right.
happens with our industry that, you know, when you're in it, you know.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know you have your whole film crew waiting. They're probably on hourly rate or something like that. And I appreciate you spending time with me. We'll get this episode edited and soon, and I'll send it to you to, you know, look at it, show notes, make sure there's links in there, whatever you want to do. But I appreciate your insight and you're coming on. People should definitely follow you on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and see all the stuff that you're doing and get, you know, branding and all that type of stuff. And I appreciate your time helping with
No,
people.
thank you. I appreciate you putting yourself out there. As uncomfortable as it was trying to be comfortable doing this, you know, there's something to be said about that. So I appreciate that. And you do sound great. You do sound like a radio host.
I bought a better mic after Jack. So,
Oh, that's so funny. So just speaking about the film crew really quick, where they're not on an hourly rate.
no, I'm sure they're not.
These two guys that are here are so cool and they're so talented and they want to be a part of something. And they have a little bit of extra time on their hands right now because the normal things that they were doing for Verizon and the different places, they're not out there. They're not doing what they were doing before. So they had some time and space for me, and I appreciate it. They're great.
All right. Well, we can promote them too if you want to
Aw,
get me some
well,
information. All right.
yeah.
I will turn this off.